Welcome to the Many Worlds Podcast. Listener discretion is advised. This anthology is a work of fiction. Any characters, events, and businesses have been fictionalized or completely fabricated. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental, or happened in an alternate dimension.
He came walking in shadow, a perfect midnight story. Datura, in feline form, padded silent through the forest like velvet on paws. Both of us could smell the arcana, feel the power radiating like an invisible sun. It was chaotic, familiar. The cabin was lit by dim candlelight tucked deep in the woods where no one would ever find it. No one but me. I've been selling my services as a sort of private investigator/contractor lately. Same old rough work, but I've been trying to keep my nose clean. Mostly. Elias, how have you changed? I hear you asking. Well, great question. I found the power of darkness and shadow. I am like death. I come silent and unseen until it is way too late. You cannot see me with the naked eye. Not even with a spotlight. Also, I can summon a shadow form when I'm not invisible. It looks scary as shit, which really suits me just fine. I am faster, stronger, and I might be some sort of servant of a goddess as well. Yeah, I know it's a lot to process. If you heard of me at all, it would be by another name. They called me Wickham. Now, though, I prefer the name my mama gave me. Out in the woods at night, I was just another shadow under a crescent moon. The clearing where the forest stopped and the property began looked like a weave of decay and life, like vines spirally around themselves. The nocturnal fauna hooted and howled, buzzed and growled. Normal people would be afraid. But there's no better apex predator than me. I smelled so much dark power there. I could feel the house like an eldritch horror, pulsing against the dark. I could feel the book she stole from the circle even more. I could smell my blood in that book. I used to give it power. All of us thought it was a great idea to give a demon more power over us. I was cursed. Everyone else was just stupid. Grislin was an old-school sorcerer, witch-blooded, fortified, hard to kill, and crazy as 5 aces. She grounded her power in the earth, a green witch, a slaughterer of children, eater of souls. The runes dug out around the property were of Nordic origin. See, she fed on kids. Not fresh toddlers or newborns, more like 10 or 12-year-olds. Something about prepubescence that can really set a spell off. Gross. Some people get obsessed with youth, preserving theirs or using it to give themselves strength. Power has a tendency to take precedence over any young life. After all, what's another missing minority child? Don't be mad. People pretend to care. Hell, they pretend to understand the world around them. Just because you believe something doesn't make it real. No missing kids don't mean jack or shit to the powers that be. They just go to bed at night relieved it didn't happen to them or anyone they know. I don't blame you or them. I wish I didn't know what goes bump in the dark most days. Concrete knowledge of the supernatural will keep you up at night. Datura is my familiar. She can switch between 2.5 shapes. It's rough, but she's trying and making strides each day. We're both new to these kinds of powers. She could be larger than a normal black cat or a black bird of prey. Sometimes immaterial, like a spirit, she is always warm to the touch. Reminds me of days best buried. She creeps up the lawn to the moss-covered wooden door. You could walk off the ground and up to the roof and sit on the steeple of the house. I bet it looks wonderful in the deep summer months. Also, a wonderful hiding place, away from any provincial authorities in Michigan. As a cat, Datura creeps to the door and becomes smoke seeping under. I can see through her eyes. Seeing like Datura is jarring, like a hallucinogenic trip. With senses expanded, sight, sound, and feel are completely foreign. I think the reason the colors are so bright, even in little to no light, is that she's getting some infrared. That, and there is no difference between the spirit world and this plane of existence. So the light from there lets her peer into the deepest of shadows, which allows yours truly to peer into shadows as well. Not all familiars are as well made as Datura. Newborn, still really just over a year old. She's come a long way since then. We both have. The kids are in a cage in the corner, crying and shaking. I can smell the piss and fear on them. She starved them, and had already cut her spells into the back of their flesh. One boy and one girl huddled together in the cabin corner. Straw, a small bunk, and steel bars took up the whole back half of the place. It smelled of death and black magic. The kids, unfortunately, are not my priority tonight, but I'll give myself bonus points if they don't get murdered. The witch has bird cages hanging from the exposed beams in the cabin, alongside many thorny moving plants. Grislin carved pentagrams and circles into the walls. I noticed the chains on an altar, a stump of some massive Yggdrasil tree. Old magic, primitive and unrefined. This would be a test of my limits, a test of who I've become, to see if the enforcer still had it. Was it fear I felt? Maybe nervous energy? No, I am the Shadow Vorkanis. I send the wayward to the crossroads between planes of existence. Bad. It was like an image and a thought radiating from Datura. That surprised me. I did not know she could send thoughts to me. Just a couple of weeks ago, she was a puff of smoke that needed my essence to stay alive. I'm an anchor for her to this world. Familiars are rare. I'm seeing that she is unique and more valuable than I'd ever guessed. They take a great deal of power to make, if you've got the power to create a creature like Datura on your own. Yes, bad. Find the witch, I sent back, and she was delighted to stalk through the house, mapping the rooms. 3 doors down, a dark hallway. It smelled of death and a foul black juju. I'd smelled it many times sitting in a circle in abandoned buildings or burnt-out churches. We were monsters, really. Not the terrible monsters sitting around a big, boiling black cauldron, saying, double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Or some such bullshit. No, in flop houses and at ancient magic sites scattered around the country. And one other place. I don't talk about that place. Memories best forgotten, left on the cutting room floor. Grizz used to be a part of the circle. Not a core member, but she took a grimoire that didn't belong to her. The growling, cursing sound is homegirl pulling in power. She's no vamp or succubus, just straight-up blood magic. It made me nervous. I can't lie. Think Blair Witch on crack who can weaponize blood and flesh. Keeping it alive, but using its body as tools in the arcane. It's interesting, and very dangerous. You know, if you haven't figured that part out yet, I will not be resurrected if I get killed these days. I got new tricks, though. Gave up fire. Gave up the hammer for something that fit better. Back then I killed because I was told to. Now I do it because some monsters don't deserve redemption. The more you live, the more you understand that fitting into anyone's preconceived notions or ideas on who you should be is a prison. Destiny is for suckers and fundamentalists. Me? I'm just a steely-eyed realist with a lot of pent-up aggression. Who is getting paid to carve a witch's heart out? I walk, gathering the surrounding shadows. I'm careful to sidestep the runes. My shadow form is on. Still, the witch is a magic user. She might see me or feel my presence. She draws significant magical energies from her own body. That's a valid way to use energy, but it comes with the trade-off that you have a limited source to draw from, including the kid's life force. It was substantial, but not as substantial as drawing from the very darkness around you. The door opens with no effort. The kids in the cage can't see me, only see the door creak open. They're trembling, holding one another with heads bowed. They can feel the moment is happening. Grislin, in her private room, sharpens an obsidian dagger. Still no sign of the book. She walks out and can tell something is off. Datura and I are throwing off the normal energies flowing through the cabin. "Who the fuck is there?" she hisses. Grislin looks exactly like the witch from every terrible movie you've ever seen. Ugly, twisted face that had seen too many centuries. Drunk on dark arcana, allowing the necrosis and death to creep into her body and soul. Magic is a nasty business if you use it wrong. Power knows no shame. Remember I said that. She's got the blade and is looking around wildly. I've got a black button in my pocket that I tossed across the room. I move before it lands. Her twisted, one-eyed head moves towards the sound. I'm calling the shadows into my hand, turning into black claws, sharp as night and twice as frightening. Before she can raise her blade, I feel the claws slide into her silently, and I keep moving, slamming her into the table. Up close, I can see the ruin of her milky left eye. Teeth cracked and yellowed. Her breath was like a sulfur pit. I can't express to the levels of stank this bitch was kicking out. She hisses, and I growl down at her, pinned to the table. The children realize what's happening. One monster fighting a shadow with claws. Hopefully, with a little luck and a lot of therapy, this will be the worst thing they have ever seen. "Book," I said. "I'm gonna kill you," she hissed back, and I pushed the claws in deeper. Fiery blood leaked out of her rags and into my hand. "Not gonna ask again. I feel it here. I'll gut you like a pig, Grizz. In the bedroom behind the buffet." "Don't try and sound fancy, Grizz. You live in a shithole," I said. "Wickham? Is that you, you motherfucker? I thought they killed you." She hissed up as I let the shadow retract from my face. "No, Grizz. I broke the circle. I'm the one who destroyed the coven. And you should not have screwed with power that ain't yours." I growled through clenched teeth and summoned the shadows into my other hand as well, about 4 inches of solid black, and stabbed Grislin right through her eyes and out the back of her skull. She bucked once and I felt her body go limp on the table. Then I let the shadows drop, and suddenly I'm just a 6'2" black man that looks to be in his 30s, wearing a brown leather coat. The kids look at me with shocked eyes. They don't know what my next move will be. Are they saved? Am I gonna kill them too? I don't kill kids. It's like Batman and Spider-Man's one rule. I'll gut and stab a witch to death, 'cause fuck that bitch, that's why. I enjoyed putting the old leech down. I lanced a boil on the ass of the earth. Trust me, I know a lot of evil SOBs, and this lady had it coming. I retrieve the book and come out, cut through the lock with one black-clawed hand. "Want to get the hell out of here?" They both nodded their heads in unison. I tried not to laugh, but they were cute kids. Did she hurt you? She hit me when I tried to get her off, Shay. She put cuts on our arms. The boy said matter-of-factly with huge, sad eyes. Well, she's dead now, and we're gonna burn this bitch's house to the ground. Okay? I smiled at them, and they looked at one another, nodded their heads again, and smiled back at me. Many creatures like revenge, especially tiny 8-year-olds, who probably were about to be eaten by a witch. She probably wanted to turn back the clock for a few decades. Pure speculation on my part. Back in the day when I was under a curse, I don't know what I would have done. So many lost years served in a cause that wasn't my own. Thinking I was the good soldier, blind to the magical compulsion and manipulation. Now I decide what kind of man to be. Whether I am cruel or kind is solely in my hands. It's a good feeling to be free. Weird, too. I thought all of that, or at least the general feeling of those words, reverberated through my dark heart. That night I wanted to save some kids and burn down an evil witch's house. I used to wield fire as a weapon in the old days. Pyromancy. Now I can't even muster the smallest of flames. But a match and some lighter fluid would do just fine. I saw Grislin get her door. Her spirit stood untouched by the blazing flames. She was still old, but the eye was fixed, and she wasn't wearing rags. She noticed I could see her. There was a tilt of her head. Then she turned and strolled through the door to the realms of the dead. "Mr. Wickham, can you take us home?" the little boy asked. "Call me Elias, kid," I said. "But she called you Wickham," the girl Shay said. "I'm not that guy anymore, kid," I said as we turned and walked away. I pulled out my flashlight so the kids could see. Datura swooped down as a bird, then transforming into her cat form. She leapt to my shoulder and curled around my neck, warm and purring like nothing ever happened. The woods were quiet. The cabin burned, and somewhere deep inside, the missing pieces of me finally stopped screaming for the moment.
That was my update. That's what I've been up to since leaving the circle. Thought I'd give the story a little bit more bang, a little bit more panache with the narrator's voice. You'll find I'll use a multitude of tools and voices. Anyway, like and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Find some videos on the YouTube channel. And, as always, don't look behind you.